because they weren't able to get pre-K4 proper, because they weren't able to get kindergarten proper. So now somehow, because of pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
this group is affected too.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Well, they're gonna make an excuse because
It's just
again,
all excuses.
all of his excuses because
Mhm.
no one really wants to sit back and look and say that this current system that we currently have,
Mhm.
educational system,
That you forced to pay into,
forced to pay into,
even if you opt to pay into another education system.
it does not fucking work for the 21st century.
Mm-mm.
And it's still someone saying, okay, let's go back and revisit this shit and make changes, necessary changes. A lot of people saying, fuck this. I'll put my kid in a private school
Or
because
homeschool.
homeschool,
Yeah.
which is growing tremendously.
I mean, it should.
Yes, because
It
if the school's
should.
not doing it,
The
then,
schools are out
you
of
have to do
control.
it. Yes, yes.
You
Metal
want to take your
detectors.
kid out of school for 2 or 3 days? They talking about they got a doctor's note? No, they had to be sick in order for us to go somewhere.
This is crazy.
That doesn't even make sense
It
at this
doesn't
point.
make no sense. I was talking to a guy recently, and he was saying he moved close to my old high school,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, when he moved there, he said, I kept hearing that things was going to be different there, and there's a better school and all that. He said the first day he took his kid in there, it was a fight right there when he walked in the door. He said it was a fight. He was like, oh my god. He said, why are they fighting the first thing in the morning? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. What you fighting for?
Mm-hmm.
And then he said it got worse because then they put metal detectors in there. I said, we never thought about metal detectors going to school. That was the last thing on my mind. The last thing on my mind was like, God damn, I got to get in class late before I got to come down and get a late note.
Yeah.
But now these kids got to worry about metal detectors, knives, guns. And he's like, I think I made a mistake buying a house in this area to go to school because I have to call my kid every day and text them, make sure they're good, make sure nothing jump off. He said, then they had a big fight recently down there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, how these kids learn with this kind of tension and threat that's going on down there? And how did the teachers teach? Mm-hmm. And I can see why teachers are quitting left and right because of what's going on there. These kids can't learn. So if we're spending all this money to make schooling and education better, but yet you got a parent whose kid is currently in school worried about hopefully my kid don't get shot, don't get stabbed, don't get in the middle of. We don't send our kids to school to worry about. It's not a war zone.
Yeah.
It's not like you send them to Kosovo or you send them to Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
You send them to school to learn.
Yep.
And we see around these kids getting shot at every time you turn around. There's a school shooting.
Yep.
So what the fuck are we really teaching these kids today? And now again, you got kids who ain't really learning.
Mm-hmm.
You got young men who are just getting passed through, and then they pass them right out of school. Congratulations, you graduated to what?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have no skill set. You can't fucking read. You can barely write.
And your logical reasoning skills are poor.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
your ability to think and apply certain things, it's not been challenged very much.
No.
Because we
not at
didn't have
all.
any programs and extracurricular activities that were proper to kind of foster that. The other thing
Exactly.
about the male-female thing is it's sort of like in the workplace, right? Where the girls, the women are easier to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So in the academia world, the ladies, the young ladies are easy to deal with. So if they're having an issue with learning, especially in elementary school, you'll see the teacher is more willing to spend a few more minutes with the girls versus trying to settle the boys down to spend a few more minutes with the boys because they're doing
Absolutely.
too much, right?
Absolutely.
So you see that easy road being taken. And so the woman, naturally, if she was going to miss it, she caught it because she was easier to deal with.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens with the boys, you're a disruption to this class.
You're a disruption.
So now we're going to push you somewhere else. We're going to put you in a different
Yeah.
class for all the other hard heads that they always say, or they're not smart, they're not intelligent. Did they ever think that maybe they're bored?
Or they're going to put all their resources into disciplining you as opposed to all the
Yes.
resources into bringing you up to speed. So we'll call up your mom and we'll have your mom come in and she'll have, 2 or 3 meetings sitting down about what you did and how you disrupted the class. But we ain't never going to bring your mother up here and sit down and say, okay, this is the curriculum that we need for you to help with him at home. We got to have to do some special stuff to kind of really drill him because he's not where he needs to be, and his disruptions in class are really coming because he doesn't know the math facts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because normally they bouncing off the wall, he needs to play a sport, right?
Yep.
Because
That's
he
true.
should have been so tired last night that he plunked into that bed, and when he woke up this morning, baby, he got to leave all that energy for the field tonight.
Yep.
Sometimes it's the fact that they're just not being balanced out, and we're not having those serious conversations. Let that go all the way till you 18 and have to make it in the real world. The women are making it because they
Yep.
have been groomed to make it.
Absolutely.
Outside of the assistance of food stamps, temporary cash assistance, and child support and alimony, right?
Absolutely.
Outside of those things, the woman of today can afford a household on her own because she's educated enough.
Yes, she is.
There's so many of them because you've pivoted her in the situation because she's been easier to deal with. That's historically related. It's always been like that
And it's just worse.
when it comes to us.
Yep. Absolutely.